Look at a map of the world. World map. Most borders solid black. Kashmir, Western Sahara, South China Sea highlighted with fuzzy red, dashed lines. You see a beautiful patchwork of countries, all neatly separated by thin, dark lines. It gives you a feeling of order, a sense that everything is in its proper place. An undefined border is a place where two or more countries do not agree on the exact location of the line that separates them. It is that simple. This is not about an unguarded or easy-to-cross border. It is about a fundamental disagreement over ownership of the land itself. One country's map, border along a mountain ridge. Neighboring country's map, border down in the valley. In the space between ridge and valley, both nations claim sovereignty. Sovereignty, a government's full right and power over its land and people. The disagreement can be quiet for decades, recorded in old papers and dusty map rooms. Or it can be loud and dangerous, a source of tension and even war. Example: a small, uninhabited island in a river between two nations. Claim A. One country says the river's main channel flows on the far side. Claim B. The other country points to a treaty signed 100 years ago. Until they agree, the border stays undefined, a question mark on the map. One of the biggest reasons for undefined borders is history, especially old and inaccurate maps. Long ago, map makers did not have satellites or GPS. They drew maps based on travelers' stories, rough sketches, landmarks that were not always precise. A treaty might have described a border as running from the great oak tree to the crest of the hills, but a century later, the tree is gone, and there are several crests to choose from. Another powerful cause is the legacy of colonization. During the 19th century and the 20th century, European powers met in faraway capitals and drew lines across maps of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. They often did this with little to no knowledge of the local geography or the people who lived there. They sliced through ethnic groups, nomadic routes, and traditional lands with the stroke of a pen. When these colonial powers left, the newly independent nations were stuck with these artificial borders. The lines made no sense on the ground and did not reflect the realities of the people, creating instant and lasting sources of conflict and uncertainty. Nature itself is another reason borders stay fuzzy. Many borders are defined by natural features, most commonly rivers. But rivers are not static, they are living things. They flood, they change course, and carve new paths over time. International law has different answers, and countries often disagree on which rule applies. Let's travel to some of these undefined areas.
First, the Himalayas. India and China never fully agreed on a final line. They patrol along what's called the line of actual control. Aksai Chin, controlled by China but claimed by India. Arunachal Pradesh, administered by India but claimed by China as South Tibet. Slide west. India and Pakistan. There's the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir, plus Sir Creek down by the Arabian Sea. Sir Creek looks tiny, but its exact mouth decides big maritime zones and fishery rights. Middle East next. Israel and Palestine, the 1949 Green Line. West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem. Borders here are claimed, administered, and negotiated all at once, but not finally settled. North of them, Cyprus. The island has a UN buffer zone between the Republic of Cyprus and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The ceasefire line works as a boundary in practice, but not as a universally recognized international border. Across North Africa, Western Sahara. Morocco controls most of it behind a long sand berm. The Polisario Front claims the territory as the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Recognition is split, so the final border remains open. Now to East Africa, Sudan and South Sudan still dispute Abyei. Oil under the soil, communities on both sides, and an interim status that never quite became final. The Horn of Africa, Ethiopia and Eritrea fought over Badme and other stretches. A commission drew a boundary on paper, demarcation on the ground has lagged and flared. The Caucasus, Armenia and Azerbaijan. After recent shifts, parts of the border are being remapped, but full demarcation is still ongoing, especially after changes around Nagorno-Karabakh. Europe has small ones too. Croatia and Slovenia disagree over the Bay of Piran. Arbitration chose a line, but implementation is contested. Serbia and Kosovo also disagree on status and boundaries. Recognition varies, so border work stalls. The Americas, Venezuela and Guyana dispute the Essequibo region. Maps, courts, and oil offshore make it tense. The US and Canada have quiet quirks like Machias Seal Island and bits of the Beaufort Sea. China and Bhutan also have unsettled land stretches. Talks continue. Asia Pacific. The South China Sea is more about maritime boundaries than land. Overlapping exclusive economic zones and reefs create a patchwork of claims without a single agreed border map.
This area is crucial for global trade and is believed to hold huge reserves of oil and gas. The competing claims have led to naval standoffs and the construction of military bases on tiny reefs. Imagine being a farmer and not knowing which country your fields are in. You do not know which government to pay taxes to or which one will protect you if your crops are stolen. Your children might be denied a passport because their place of birth is considered disputed territory. This lack of legal clarity affects every aspect of daily life, from property rights, law enforcement, schools, hospitals. People are left in a state of limbo, belonging fully to neither side. These contested zones often become militarized, with soldiers from both sides patrolling the area. The constant military presence creates an atmosphere of fear. A simple mistake can escalate into a serious international incident. Families can be separated by a line that one day did not matter, and the next day becomes a hard, impassable barrier. Borderlands can shift from shared culture and trade into front lines of a frozen conflict. Economic life also suffers greatly. Who would invest where ownership could change overnight? Traders risk confiscation or paying double tariffs. Where authority is weak, smugglers of weapons, drugs, people exploit the gap. This destabilizes the region and threatens both nations and beyond. Despite the complexity of these disputes, there are hopeful and practical paths toward resolving them. The most important first step is always communication. It is about replacing threats and military posturing with patient diplomacy. Modern tools, satellite imagery, GPS, digital mapping, help establish agreed physical facts. Create a shared map, the exact course of a river, the precise watershed, the layout of a village. Listen to border communities. Formalize local arrangements. Use neutral mediation or an international court when needed. If the dispute is over oil or water, create joint zones to manage and share profits. Turn a source of conflict into a reason for cooperation.